on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. At the Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Another picture-perfect day from Kansas City. It's the final game of a 3-game series here from Kansas City and a 7-game road trip for the Toronto Blue Jays. Currently 2-4 on this road trip, and they will try to avoid a sweep here on this Sunday afternoon against one of the hottest teams in the American League and actually throughout all of Major League Baseball. They are 15-6 in the month of June, are the Royals. However, Tabby, when you go back and you look at the starters, that has not been the issue here.
No, definitely the Blue Jays have gotten the starting pitching to win both of these games against the Royals. 2 one-run games. Jay Happ on Friday night was sensational. Didn't throw many change-ups, which was interesting. His fastball was so good, and then Marco Estrada followed that up yesterday. 7 really good innings. He only gave up 3 earned runs. He had 6 strikeouts himself. Pitched well enough to win that ball game. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, they have not been able to figure out Kansas City. They've come up with some great at-bats against both Happ and Estrada. 1 earned run allowed for Happ, 3 earned runs allowed for Estrada. Normally, that's enough with the Blue Jays offense to win both of those games. Unfortunately, they couldn't figure out a way to beat the Royals.
Royals come away with that come-from-behind victory on Friday night, and then yesterday, the left-hander Jason Vargas earned his 11th victory of the season. We take a look at the starting lineup, where the Blue Jays are now 4 games under 500. Justin Smoak on the current road trip is 9 for 20 with a home run and 3 RBIs. For Troy Tulowitzki over the last 8 games, 9 for 30 with a home run and 2 RBIs. He hit that home run yesterday, and that came in the 2nd inning with 1 away, as Troy Tulowitzki drove it to deep left field. Jason Hamill on the hill for the Kansas City Royals, Tabby.
Making his 15th start of the season and has himself on a nice little roll lately. 1 small tweak to his mechanics, and Hamill is pitching better. He has won his past 3 decisions. He held the Red Sox to 2 runs over 7 innings, beating them 4-2. That was on Monday. That's 3-1 in his past 6 starts after starting the season 1-5 with an inflated earned run average. Facing the Jays for the 16th time in his career, but it's the first time he has faced them since 2013 when he was a member of the Baltimore Orioles.
Signed a 2-year deal in the offseason, the right-hander, and you look at the defense. Merrifield moves from second out to left field. Kane is in center, Bonifacio at right. Cuthbert and Escobar on the left side. Torres and Hosmer on the right. And Hamill and Butera, the battery.
Merrifield got the big hit against the Blue Jays on Friday. He's a jack-of-all-trades type of player. 4 started in the outfield. First Royal to start games at 5 different positions last year. None as a DH since Willie Bloomquist in 2010. He gets left field this afternoon.
Strike 1 to Jose.
There's Witt. He has made some starts at second base, right field, and left field for the Royals this season.
Had the walk-off double to win it on Friday night. A heartbreaking loss for the Blue Jays in the first game of this 3-game set. And the pitch misses down and away. Since moving Jose Bautista this past Wednesday to that leadoff spot, this is the first time that John Gibbons, 1 through 5 in that batting order, has exactly what he wanted. Ground ball. Escobar scoops it up, and there's 1 away. Bautista followed by Martin, Donaldson, Smoak, and Morales.
He flip-flopped Smoak and Morales when the team was down in Texas. He moved Bautista and Martin up to the top 2 spots. They might not have the big batting average, but they have high on-base percentage. The idea for John Gibbons and the Blue Jays, let's get some guys on base for Donaldson, Smoak, and Morales so we can try and score more runs.
And the reason why it has taken this much time is because he was giving players off days, and then obviously the knee with Donaldson, and utilizing the DH as an opportunity for players to rest from playing in the field. Martin is a hitter, and he is catching today, and the pitch is away. He has played third during this road trip.
Gibby has always said that, you can talk all you want about pitching and defense, but when you play in the American League, especially the American League East, you got to swing the bat. You've got to score runs. And the Blue Jays, when scoring 4 or more runs this year, they're 27-17. Now that sounds good, but it's the 5th worst record in Major League Baseball. So you have to score runs. And right now, when they do, they haven't been able to get the pitching to go along with it.
They certainly had the pitching the last 2 games, as we talked about. Jay Happ looked strong, very aggressive, used that fastball. And then great to see Marco Estrada, who had been scuffling, as Martin drills this one into the gap in left center field. Martin takes a big turn. He's heading to second. Here's the throw. It's off the line. Diving in head first is Martin with a double.
Well, Lorenzo Cain, the center fielder for the Kansas City Royals, was actually shading Russell Martin in right field. And he makes this a very close play. This ball is drilled into the left field, and Cain comes over a long way and cuts the ball off. And if the throw was on mark, maybe they had a shot. Russell had to really hustle out of the box to turn that into a double. Here comes Russell. The play's right in front of him. He's going to dive to the inside part of the bag. You can see the throw was just offline.
Donaldson has 2 hits in the series with an RBI. Had a single in the 9th inning, a great at-bat, breaking ball down low and away. He served it into right field in the top of the 9th inning to score Bautista. And then a 2-out double in the top of the 1st. Yesterday he was stranded at second. He'll try to pick up Martin here.
Well, expect a lot of breaking balls from Jason Hamill. I told you the Blue Jays have not seen him since 2013 when he was a member of the Baltimore Orioles, but he's got a lot of breaking ball stuff in his repertoire. What he throws, lots of sliders, lots of curveballs, changeup. There's a changeup.
Martin with the lead at second. 25 degrees here in Kansas City with no sign of humidity. The wind has died down. It was swirling earlier prior to the first pitch. And up and in, and the count now runs even.
Jason Hamill got off to a really rough start this season. He was signed late in the wintertime. In fact, he was signed after Yordano Ventura passed away in that car accident in January. Hamill was signed in February. And he is now in that starting rotation and picks up a big strikeout.
2 outs and Martin at second, and Justin Smoke is the batter here with a 9-game hit streak. Smoke hitting .305 with a career high tying 20 homers and 48 RBIs.
Well, this is why they moved him into that cleanup spot to try and drive in more runs. He's the team leader with 48 RBIs.
Pitch misses down and in. Vote Smoke. He certainly is deserving of being an American League All-Star. Against right-handed pitching this season, .278, 16 of his 20 home runs and 38 RBIs. Can he pick up Martin here? And he went around, and Butera fires down to second, chasing Martin back.
Russell trying to get a good jump out at second base. 2 outs. You see the swing of the bat, and you want to just go on the swing. That was a check swing from Smoke, and Butera almost got him.
The 1-1. And there's a strike. And the right-hander now ahead in the count.
Blue Jays have had some problems in this series coming up with runners in scoring position. They left 5 on yesterday in a 1-run game. They left 11 on Friday in a 1-run game.
Pitch misses down and in. It's actually been this entire road trip. When you think about it, you go back to Texas. Left 9 on in the first game, 9 in the second, 6 in the third game, and then 7 in the fourth game of that series, fourth and final game. The 2-2. Got him on the inside corner. And Justin Smoke doesn't like the call. And stranded at second base. Russell Martin to the bottom of the first. Second after a 1-out double. Donaldson and Smoke strike out. Ned Yost and his Royals, they are above 500 for the first time this season. Here is his Sunday lineup. They're 37 and 36 overall. Sal Perez over the last 14 games hitting .431 with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. He will DH today. Alcides Escobar has a 6-game hit streak. He was 3 for 3 yesterday with 2 runs scored, and certainly a key difference maker. And they will face Francisco Liriano,
who takes the ball for the Blue Jays, trying to salvage the series for Toronto. It's been an inconsistent season so far for Liriano. 2 quality starts in 11 appearances this year. He's looking to win his first road starts since he joined the Blue Jays last year, and incidentally made his first start as a Jay right here in Kansas City on August the 5th, 2016. He's got to go a little bit deeper in games. He's been averaging 4 2/3 innings per start, averaging 83 pitches per start. We'll know early on from Liriano if he's hitting on that fastball slider changeup combination.
Liriano last worked on Tuesday in Texas. Worked just 4 2/3, allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned, in a pair of home runs.
Blue Jays had won 6 straight of Liriano's start before that. 4-run first inning really did him in. 5 hits and that Carlos Gomez solo home run. Remember that one on the first pitch from Liriano.
And then in the 5th inning, Nomar Mazara with a solo home run, and he was unable to get out of the inning as Whit Merrifield is out swinging, and there's one away here in the bottom of the first inning behind Francisco Liriano. Dwight Smith Jr. in left. Pilar patrols center. Bautista into right field. Donaldson and Tulo. Goins and Smoke in the battery. Liriano and Martin.
All right, we're pumping Justin Smoke's tires offensively, but we got to pump them defensively too. Last year, the Blue Jays were 8th in defensive runs saved. This year, they're 28th. But Justin Smoke has been great over at first base. He's made 1 error all season long. He has played most of the games this year at first base. Just a handful of games started by Kendrys Morales. Justin Smoke has been sensational defensively at first base.
Jorge Bonifacio, the rookie, is the hitter. And the pitch misses up and away. Liriano. And the pitch outside. Two balls and 1 strike.
Pretty good looking pitch right there. It looks from here that Liriano's got command of that slider today. And if he's got that slider and combines it with a good fastball, he should have a good day.
Hit in the air. Bonifacio deep to left field. Gone. Royals on the board first here.
Francisco Liriano has now given up 8 home runs this season. All 8 of them have come off of the fastball. Tried to slip that one by him, but got too much of the plate. Bonifacio with 11 home runs now, hitting in that number 2 spot for this Royals team. He's been a little bit more patient. They wanted this fastball in. It's out over the plate. This is a lot like the Carlos Gomez home run he gave up down in Texas. They tried to go inside, stayed over the middle. Again, all 8 of his home runs have come off the fastball.
Bonifacio 4th among rookies in the American League with 11 home runs now. Of course, Aaron Judge leads away with 26. Liriano is 0-3 with a 5.54 ERA and 10 career road games, 8 starts, and opponents are hitting .295. And looking to shake that off and move forward as he faces Lorenzo Cain here in the bottom of inning number 1.
Slider's good. That fastball missed, but his slider's been good. Cain has had a great June too. He's really been carrying them this month. He's had 8 home runs in the month of June. 325 average, 26 hits, 8 have left the ballpark to jump that total to 10.
Over the last 4 games, he has struggled though, and the pitch is inside. He was 0 for 4 yesterday. He's 1 for his last 13 over the last 4 games. So we talked about Happ as well as Estrada. Over the last 2 games, they've done a good job against Cain. Did he go around? Yes, says Corey Blazer. And that is the 2nd out here in the bottom of inning number 1.
And another strikeout for Liriano. Off-speed pitch, can't hold up. That is called strike 3. Cain can't believe it.
John Tumpane calls the balls and strikes. Joe West down at 3rd. Laz Diaz 2nd. And Corey Blazer over at first base. Eric Hosmer, the first baseman, has a strike on him. No Mike Moustakas, the team leader in home runs today. Hosmer has 9, hitting .300.
Got off to an awful start this year. Just a really tough start for Hosmer, but he's been going the other way with a little bit more regularity. The balls that he has been pulling have been leaving the ballpark. We saw that yesterday with his home run to right field, but he's getting a lot of his hits the other way. In fact, coming into this series, he was hitting over .400 since May the 1st by hitting the ball the other way, and I think that's why you see the Blue Jays really pinching the middle of the field.
Pitch up. Hosmer hit a go-ahead solo home run to lead off the 4th inning yesterday. It was his 8th go-ahead RBI of the season, the 70th since the start of 2015, which is 2nd to most in the American League, trailing only Albert Pujols with 80. And he now has 4 home runs the last 13 games. Donaldson gets him at first place on that slow bouncer to the 3rd baseman. And that'll do it, but not before the rookie Jorge Bonifacio with a solo home run to left in the bottom of the first. And as we travel to the second, Royals lead 1-0.
Academy will be hosting 11 Honda Super Camps across Canada. You can learn techniques from former Blue Jays such as Robbie Alomar, Lloyd Moseby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Register now at bluejays.com/camps for Blue Jays Honda Super Camps.
Those are always great. Here's a former Royal, Kendrys Morales, as he fouls it off, hitting .267 to 15 homers and 43 RBIs. And Ned Yost had this to say about Kendrys Morales. He's such a personal guy, and he was such a big part of our club the last couple of years. As he hits this one deep in the air to right field, carrying and reaching up is Bonifacio, and there's one down. Gave that one a ride. He said he's just fun to be around. He said he's one of those guys that everyone loved and everyone loved to be around. He was always the first one in the locker room every day playing his Frank Sinatra music. And today in the Blue Jays clubhouse,
Frank Sinatra music.
Frank Sinatra.
And he almost got a home run there, just missed it. Didn't square that one up.
Likes old blue eyes. It's the first, I can honestly say this, it's the first clubhouse I have ever been in with Frank Sinatra playing.
I guess it's Kendrys' day today. He got to pick the music in the clubhouse.
Fly me to the moon. Tulowitzki. And did he go around? No, on a count of 2-0. One down here in the top of the second.
Well, Tulo seems to be swinging the bat with a little bit more aggressiveness early in the count, trying to pick something out, and he's been spraying the ball all over the field. Doubled to right center field the other day. He also homered yesterday, pulling the ball.
Over the last 8 games, hitting .300 with that home run and 2 RBIs. The home run ended a 20-game homerless drought. It was his first home run since May 29th against the Cincinnati Reds.
And he did that in grand fashion. You remember that? A grand slam against the Reds.
Good hitters count here for Tulowitzki. Hamill, a season ago, won a career high 15 games for the Cubs. He got underneath it, and the count now is full.
Got a pretty good pitch to hit right there and just missed it, fouled it back. Had a good series.
Tulo hitting 6th in this lineup. Then they break up the righties with Dwight Smith, and then they go back to Pilar, and then the left-handed bat of Goins, and a walk here. So a 1-out walk, and that's going to bring up Dwight Smith Jr., who started on Friday night.
That shows you the kind of success that he has had, and very confident throwing a 3-2 slider. Now, he wasn't very confident early in the season. His ERA keeps going down. He started awful this year. His first 10 starts, he was 1-6. Last 4 starts, he is 3-0. So he's getting that ERA down to where he normally is, and he's made just a couple of tweaks to his mechanics. He was really cutting himself off, and that front foot still stays closed, as you can see right there. But the one thing that he's doing a little bit different now, watch his shoulders when he comes set. They move to square himself back up with home plate. Earlier this year, as he came set, the shoulder really stays closed. He was cutting himself off. He couldn't command anything. Now when he gets the set, he comes set, watch his shoulders. They're closed, and now he opens them, freeing him up to go towards home plate. Been much better lately.
Fine tuning and making that adjustment has led to this success.
3-0 with a 230 earned run average over his last 4 starts. That's in the month of June. And he's been there before, so he knows how to pitch. Pitchers sometimes, just like hitters, will get into ruts where they're doing something where they're not really sure what has happened. Dave Island will go out there, the pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals. They'll look at film and they'll try and find something. Hamill says he really wasn't aware that he was staying closed for so long, and that was really cutting off his ability to get the ball to the plate and get it to the plate effectively, throwing the ball where he wants to. So when I see him throw a 3-2 slider to Tulowitzki, I see a lot of confidence in a pitcher.
Dwight Smith Jr. hitting 400. Hamill a little concerned with Tulowitzki over at first base. There's that front shoulder, as Tabby just mentioned, and the pitch misses low, and a count now 3-0. Just walked Tulowitzki. Pilar is on deck.
In the month of June, in those 4 starts we were just talking about, he had 1 walk. 1 walk. That was his 2nd walk to Tulowitzki this whole month. That's how well he's been throwing the ball.
And there's a strike. 92-mile-per-hour fastball. Smith on Friday night had a 3-hit night. He was 3 for 5. Awaiting the 3-1. And there's strike 2. And Dwight Smith Jr. thought that it was a little bit away.
He has thrown some good pitches this at bat, right on the corners or just off the corner. He threw a 3-2 slider to Tulowitzki. Let's see if he does it again. Confidence in it again. 3-2. Yes.
Got him. Third strikeout.
Note to self, he might throw a lot of 3-2 sliders this afternoon. Jason Hamill started off, like we said, had a tough time. First 8 starts, an ERA of 6, opponent's batting average of .320. But over the last 6, he's been pitching much better. Like you said, Matt, he had a career high 15 wins last year, 5 more than any other season that he has pitched in the big leagues. This is his 10th year in the big leagues.
He has picked up wins in his last 3 starts as Pilar takes a strike. Pilar, the first 2 games of this road trip, struggled at the top of the order. He was 0 for 10, but since dropping down, he is 5 for 12 with a double, a home run, and then an RBI.
Well, what did Gibby tell us in Texas? why they wanted to move him down. Take a little bit of the pressure off. He's been grinding every day, feeling like he's got to do it all. Now, if you're down at the bottom of the lineup, all you have to do is just concentrate on getting base hits. You don't have to think about getting on base, starting rallies, or anything like that. He's always had a very good batting average hitting down in the lineup. It's a good move.
Well, he certainly produced. And he lays off of the breaking pitch. Kevin yesterday with a solo home run in the 7th inning. And that was to tie it. But then in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Royals came up with a run, and it was Alcides Escobar with a 1-out single, and he later scored on a triple off the bat of Alex Gordon, who is not playing here today. Breaking ball, and he laces it into left field for a base hit. Runners at first and second, and he is now 6 for 13 hitting down in the order.
He saw that slider right there. It looked like Hamill went to the well once too often, throwing another slider to Pilar, and he hung that one. And Kevin, he's starting to come around.
Good to see. Average starting to travel north again. With runners at first and second, here's Ryan Goins. Darwin Barney played yesterday. Goins played on Friday night, was 0 for 2 with a walk. And then Barney was a pinch hitter and took over at second base. See if the Jays can have a little 2-out magic here as they trail 1-0 and a breaking ball down and in.
Well, I know one thing. If you keep falling behind good hitters, they're going to hurt you. Fell behind Tulowitzki. He ended up walking. He now falls behind Goins, and Gogo's got some hidden power in that bat.
Pitch misses away. Hamill is 5th in the American League, holding opponents to a 188 average, Tabby, with runners in scoring position. 162 with 2 outs.
Just toughens up just a little bit and makes those good starts over his last 6. They've only got 2 hits against him with runners in scoring position. He just toughens up just a little bit, and I think he goes back to that slider a lot. He'll use that slider about 36% of the time. A lot of it in these situations right here. There are the numbers you were talking about. Yu Darvish #1, Andrew Cashman #2. We saw Vargas yesterday. Pineda with a great slider. Usually all of those pitchers with low batting averages against with runners in scoring position have a good pitch like a slider or a splitter or an overpowering fastball.
Count of 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on here on this Sunday for the Blue Jays in the top of the 2nd inning. Got him down and in. 4 strikeouts already. And the Blue Jays strand a pair. Goins goes down. We head now to
second here in Kansas City. It's a 1-0 lead for the Royals. You know, it's been an inconsistent run for Francisco Liriano, and it was Pete Walker who admitted earlier today, look, expect the unexpected with him. The inconsistency has reached the point where Liriano is either totally on or absolutely off. So how do you know if Liriano's got the stuff that day? In large part, swing and miss early in the game, Walker told me. He said if he gets the fastball to the glove side, if he's getting inside on right-handed hitters and locating that fastball, they're all good signs. Liriano's slider has been sharper of late, his breaking stuff and changeup play off the heater. So Walker said if he lets it go with his fastball, he's going to have a good game.
Perez, Cuthbert, and Escobar here in the bottom of the second, Tabby.
Yeah, and 80% of Liriano is a little bit better than 100%. He really gets out of whack when he overthrows and tries to muscle his way through innings. That's why Russell has said in the past, in fastball counts, he likes to use the slider from Liriano because it slows him down just a little bit. And we just need 80%. That'll help him stay in the strike zone and to stay within his mechanics. And when he's got that slider working, that one he overthrew right there. When he's got the slider working, when he's got the changeup working, when he's got the fastball command working, he's going to be okay. First innings have been tough on him. An ERA of 10.5. Of course, he gave up a run in the first inning on that home run. There's another one that he tried to guide in and overthrow.
First innings have been tough on the starters for the Blue Jays. They now have a 6.12 ERA in the first inning, which is tied for last in the American League with the Boston Red Sox. Here's a 2-2. And the pitch just misses in tight. You can see he's kind of fighting himself a little bit here.
It's all about finding yourself and finding your rhythm and finding your release point. When you get to 0-2 like he did, now it's 3-2, just overthrew those last couple of pitches.
Three balls, two strikes. Outfield straight away and deep for Sal Perez, who's hitting .290. 15 home runs and 43 RBIs. And he gets underneath it, skies it high in the air. Donaldson underneath it, and there's one down.
Hurry in for our lowest prices of the year at the Great Canadian Paint Sale on June 21st to 28th at Home Hardware.
Cheslor Cuthbert is the batter. Playing third today for Mike Moustakas, who gets a day off against a left-hander.
He got off to a very rough start also. He's been swinging the bat a little bit better. Moustakas plays pretty much every day against tough left-handers. That's when you'll see Cuthbert.
Back to second, Goins over to Smoke, and two down. Moustakas is on pace to break the Kansas City home run mark, which was set by a former teammate of yours, Steve Bye-Bye Balboni. Back in 1985, he hit 36 home runs.
But against a tough lefty like Liriano, Ned Yost puts him on the bench and goes with Cuthbert. Well, here's the best hitter in the Royals lineup, at least against the Blue Jays.
He has been on fire through the first two games of this series, and the pitch is down and in. Escobar, in the first two games of this series, hit in the 8th spot. He's been moved up to 7. On Friday night, he came through in the 9th inning with a base hit, and it's just foul. Played by Donaldson. Yesterday, it was all him. I mean, he was 3 for 3, 2 runs scored. Scored the game-winning run in the bottom of the 7th inning.
We featured him in the opening, and the point we were making is he's hitting everything. He doesn't walk. He's had 6 walks all season long, but he's got enough power so the outfielders have to play deep. So far this series, he's had 3 bloopers fall in front of him.
Strike two.
So you can't move your outfielders in to take that away because he's liable to hit it over their heads. He was the MVP of the ALCS against the Blue Jays.
Fastball straightens him up. Through the first two games of this series, 7, 8, and 9, the bottom third for the Royals has been a major issue. Look at that, 7 for 25 runs scored and 3 RBIs. And the pitch misses, and Russell Martin thought that got lower part of the zone.
I think everybody thought that got more than enough of the zone for a strikeout. A couple of players had taken a couple of steps towards their dugout. Got to throw a better one here.
There's been a little bit of questioning of the zone here on this Sunday by the Blue Jays. High in the air, moving over is Bautista with 2 steps on the grass in foul ground. It's a 1-2-3 inning. They move now to the third.
Top 40 players. Go to sportsnet.ca to select your top 40 Blue Jays greatest players list. Meanwhile, Joe Smith remains on the disabled list, but he told me that his range of motion is finally coming back. Smith's been excellent this season in that 8th inning role, and shoulder inflammation has had him down the last week. He's narrowed his rehab down to just a couple of exercises that have worked well. As for a return, still unknown. Smith hasn't picked up a ball yet, so until he begins his throwing program, I'd just be guessing, he said.
It's just so hard when you think about this year already. This is the 75th game where you've had 19 players spend time on the disabled list.
Initially, it wasn't supposed to be that long. They were thinking maybe this road trip. Off day tomorrow for the Blue Jays. He missed a couple of games on that homestand, so they were hoping that he would be back sometime next week. But with inflammation, you just never know.
Back to the top of the order for the Blue Jays, and Jose looks at a strike. Then Martin and Donaldson.
Fell behind once again. You notice that Hamill, even with nobody on base, pitches out of the stretch. When he was with the Baltimore Orioles, he used to be in the windup.
High in the air to the right side, giving chase is Bonifacio. A long run into foul territory, and he makes the catch. Let's check in with Hazel May. Hazel? Well, we saw the Rangers split against the Blue Jays first portion of this 7-game road trip, and they head to New York. And
Carlos Gomez yesterday. hits another home run. That's a scary team for me. I think Texas, if they get their pitchers back and they're starting to get them back. Cole Hamels should be back soon. Team him up with Yu Darvish, and then the power that they have, they could make a run.
Although you think about what Houston has done, but still, if they get their pitching back, it's the same thing here. Danny Duffy on the 10-day DL, grade 1 oblique strain. He's expected to return around the All-Star break.
Nathan Carnes, Duffy pitched yesterday, so he's getting close.
Martin has a count of 2-1. Hamill, the right-hander, comes set. And chopped on a big hop to the third baseman, Cuthbert, and over to first. And there are 2 down here in the top of the third as the Royals lead 1-0 on a solo home run off of the bat of Jorge Bonifacio. The story in Texas certainly was the starting pitching and the struggles that continued, but that has changed since traveling to Kansas City. Jay Happ was magnificent on Friday night, just unfortunately unable to come away with that victory. It's the bullpen, as that one is driven foul off of the bat of Donaldson. The bullpen was unable to do their job, and that has been a different story. The bullpen had been a shutdown pen.
Bullpen was great in Texas. 4 games. They were great. Took a little bit of a hit here with Roberto Osuna unavailable.
And then Marco Estrada got back to being Marco Estrada, which is a great sign.
Well, you know what the great sign is? Yes, that starter's going a little bit deeper. You mentioned the Texas series. We saw a 3 2/3, a 4 2/3, a 5 2/3 from the starter. Marco with 7 good ones yesterday. Jay Happ came with an out from throwing 7 innings in his start. I think if you get 7 innings from your starter every single night, it makes things a little bit easier for the manager having to deal with the bullpen.
1000%. And yesterday, unfortunately, you run into Jason Vargas, who improved to a 11-3 in his 15th start of the season, allowing 2 runs on 8 hits. In fact, the Jays had more hits than the Royals did yesterday. Didn't walk anyone, had a pair of strikeouts, as that one was fouled by
Joe.
Did Joe get it?
He whiffed. He'll get it. Look at him. He's going out
there you go. Easy
Attaboy,
now. Joe Siddle, he gets it and then he tosses it down.
He's 1 for 3 this year. Attaboy,
There's Joe. Pitch misses away in a count of 3-2.
Should have brought his glove today.
Hands of stone. He was good. He got it on the rebound. Here's Joe Siddle. Gary Howarth. Look, he's laughing.
I'm laughing. I'm getting on him. Got to make a catch.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. I was speaking about Vargas. 2 other Royal pitchers won at least 11 of their first 15 starts of a season back in 1987. Brett Saberhagen went 13-2, and then Kevin Apier in 1995 went 11-3.
Vargas has been on the All-Star game a couple of times. It looks like he's going to be
absolutely
there in a couple of weeks.
Each of his last 6 starts, and that one misses away and low, and it's a 2-out walk. And here comes Justin Smoke.
Speaking of the All-Star game, and we've been like we said, pumping his tires a little bit. Well, where does he rank among first basemen in baseball? 305, that's first. 75 hits is third. Home runs, RBIs, and on-base plus slugging, all second in baseball among first basemen. So he's having that all-star type of first half for the Blue Jays. Get out there and vote Smoke. Get him in there.
Drives this one into the gap in right center field. Going first to third is Donaldson, and he now has a 10-game hit streak. Does Justin Smoke. It's just so great to see after everything he's been through with his career. First round draft choice, great expectations in Seattle, then spent a little time in Texas, and obviously everything coming together this year and playing every day.
Confidence.
Yeah, not just a platoon player. Right?
Yeah, you see the confidence, being able to play every day. That obviously helps. There's two of the best first basemen in the American League, number wise in the whole thing. 10-game hit streak for Smoke.
Yep.
He's hitting 394, and we dropped that stat the other day, trying to become the fourth switch hitter in American League history to get to that all-star game with 20 home runs and a 300 batting average. Mickey Mantle did it 4 times. So anytime you're mentioned with Mickey Mantle, I think that means something.
Yes, absolutely.
Josh Donaldson on that last pitch came roaring down third base.
And former Royal Morales looks at a called strike. Gave one a ride back in the top of the ninth, or pardon me, top of the second to right field. And Bonifacio up against the wall makes a grab to steal him of extra bases. Hamill, and it's strike 2, and Morales doesn't like it. And Hamill now ahead in the count. Runners at first and third. Donaldson walked with 2 outs. Smoke, a base hit back through the middle.
He's been going to that breaking ball when he needs a strikeout.
And Morales stays alive. At 52 home runs in his 2 years wearing a Royals uniform, and won a World Series in 2015.
And just 1 RBI shy of 200 RBIs as a Royal to go along with those 52 home runs. RBI chance right here for the Blue Jays.
Ground ball, and he stays alive. Morales was a pinch hitter yesterday. Late in the game, struck out. On Friday night, he was 0 for 3, hit by a pitch and scored on a double off of the bat of Troy Tulowitzki. And the count now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Lots of sliders from Jason Hamill here to the Blue Jays. Drew Butera is going to go out there and have a chat with his starter. Butera has caught Hamill 3 of the last 4 games, and his ERA is 2.5. So this is starting to become a pretty good combination for the Royals. Drew Butera, Jason Hamill. So he sees something or feels something in Hamill's delivery right now that's keeping him out of the strike zone. This is pitch number 61, or excuse me, 63 already.
Here's a 2-2. Of course, Drew's father Sal with the Toronto Blue Jays. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on the corners. In the air, in the infield, and reaching back is Cuthbert, and that's going to do it here in the top of the 3rd, and the Jays have already stranded 5.
Presented by TD. The first 15,000 fans in attendance receive a Stro t-shirt. You can join pregame in the WestJet flight deck for live music and entertainment. BlueJays.com for tickets for Thursday night on the 6th. Presented by TD.
The bottom of the third inning. Torres Butera back to the top of the order for Ned Yost in Merrifield, and a swing and a miss. Blue Jays have struggled scoring runs here in this series. A combined 6 runs through the first 2 games, and today already an unfortunate trend. Ground ball backhanded by Tulowitzki, and throw to first in time.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's a great time to give your pulse a racing lesson.
With runners in scoring position, Blue Jays are now 0 for 4 and 3 strikeouts.
But that's what Hamill does, right?
Yep.
5th in the American League with the best batting average against with runners in scoring position. They're only hitting 188.
And with 2 outs, it's 160s in there.
He knows where he needs to go to get outs in tough situations. Blue Jays have to figure that out and come up with some hits. He's only given up 2 hits with runners in scoring position over his last 6 starts.
Drew Butera is the batter, hitting .242. Backup catcher with the Royals.
He has had a very nice career. He's got that label as a backup catcher and does a good job. Defense first.
In on the hands, popped him up. And right there is Tulowitzki as we check in with Hazel May. Hazel? Well, here we are in the home half of the third. Some cloud cover. What is a very comfortable game, and for a game, comfortable climate as Merrifield takes a pitch, and it's 1-0. And that big hit on Friday night did Whit Merrifield. And he drives this one into shallow right field, and Bautista handles it, and it's another 1-2-3. 8 have been retired in a row after the Bonifacio solo home run. It's still 1-0. We go to the 4th.
gets rolled out tomorrow night for the 2017 NBA Awards. Who's hosting it? Drake, of course. You can catch it on Sportsnet 1 tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And of course, all eyes on who will win MVP. Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi Leonard. It's got to be Westbrook, Matty D, doesn't it?
Well, that's up for debate. I don't know. But I think ultimately he will get it. But Harden certainly had a great year as well. But I think all eyes are on Russell Westbrook as Tulowitzki is in the batter's box.
You talking MVP awards for the
it's
NBA?
a first ever award show tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yep. They typically would have been announced along the way during the playoffs. As you well know, they would start out with Rookie of the Year and then Defensive Player of the Year and ultimately arrive at the regular season MVP as Tulowitzki hits this one in the air to deep center field, and drifting back is Kane, and Tulo definitely hitting the ball hard.
He's a little bit more aggressive, and he's getting pitches, and he's hitting them hard, getting the ball in the air with a little bit more frequency the last couple of games. I think that's where all the hits are. Hitting ground balls nowadays doesn't work. Doesn't work with all the defensive shifts and everything that they have on these hitters. I think you have to get the ball in the air for extra bases. Line drives, fly balls.
Gap to gap?
Yes. Line to line. Get the ball into the outfield. That's where the game is. With all the power pitching there is, I mean, how many times do you see 3 singles to score 1 run? It's hard to do, especially from the 6th inning on when you go to those bullpens and everybody's throwing 95. It's tough to string 3 straight hits against those type of relievers. So you need extra base hits. Get the ball in the air.
Well, you think back to Friday night, what happened? You had a double, and there's a walk with 2 outs, and then a single, double. And Kansas City came away with that victory.
Well, that's clearly the type of team that the Blue Jays have. They have to slug it. They don't have a lot of high average hitters as you look up and down this lineup. No one's hitting 300 who play every day. So you got to slug with them. Extra base hits, doubles, home runs.
Dwight Smith Jr. strikes out. It's a 5th strikeout for Hamill. And Kevin Pillar yesterday with his 9th home run.
Drove in his 19th run of the season with 1 swing of the bat. Tied this ball game up. Blue Jays would eventually lose by 1 run, but when Pillar is hitting left center field, right center field, you know he's going to get into a little hot streak. When he starts pulling off the ball on sliders down and away, that's when things get a little bit icy for him. Stay in the middle of the field.
Base hit back in the 2nd. 2 outs, and Hamill comes set. And the pitch is in there for a strike here in the top of the 4th inning. Blue Jays have dropped 3 in a row on this road trip, overall 2 and 4. And they thought they had one on Friday night, and it slipped away. And then yesterday just could not get any run support for Marco, as Vargas worked 7 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs. Estrada allowed just 5 hits, 3 of them to Alcides Escobar.
They were running into a good pitcher yesterday in Vargas. When you run into good pitchers and you've got a good pitcher on the mound and you're not hitting home runs, you got to play fundamental baseball. There was a couple plays in the game yesterday where the Blue Jays defensively cost themselves some runs. Ball into the outfield that fell in, that was a catchable ball. The throw to the plate was off just a little bit. Definitely had a chance to get him at the plate yesterday.
Toward right field, And moving out is the second baseman. And it's a 1-2-3. Top half of the fourth inning. Still 1-0 Royals.
Today, he threw a no-hitter in 2011. Who was the man behind the plate for that? Oh, just Drew Butera, who is the catcher for the Royals today. That was the first of 2 career no-hitters that Butera has caught. Butera spent 3 of his summers in Toronto when his father Sal was a member of the Blue Jays coaching staff. Matter of fact, Drew grew up around the game from the age of 2. A clubhouse rat, his dad called him. Father and son don't talk much baseball anymore, more family than work these days. But Dad's still so proud of his son who won that World Series ring in 2015, guys.
Yeah, always great to see Sal around the ballpark as the count is 1-1 now.
I asked him today if he was going to come out on the bench today when his son was hitting. He said, "You don't need to see me on the bench. I'm buried way up in there taking a look at this game." Sal does the video when the Blue Jays want a challenge. That's the man on the other side of the phone whenever we see the Blue Jays in the dugout calling back. It's Sal who answers the phone in the back.
Drew was added to the Royals back on May 7th of 2015. He was traded by the LA Angels to the Royals. He attended the University of Central Florida. Of course, Sal played in the big leagues from 1980 through 88 with Minnesota, Detroit, Montreal, Cincinnati, and Toronto. Drew was originally selected by the Blue Jays in the 48th round back in 2002. And a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bonifacio, Kane, and Hosmer. 1-0. It was Bonifacio and a solo blast back in the bottom of the first after Merrifield struck out. And a ground ball past the diving Donaldson, and headed to second is Bonifacio, and a stand-up double to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. He is the only Royal with a hit today against Francisco Liriano.
What a spark he and Whit Merrifield have given the Royals in the month of June offensively. This ball just out of the reach of Donaldson. Dwight Smith did a good job of hustling over there, cutting that ball off, and it looked like they had a chance, but Bonifacio runs too well. It's going to turn that into a double, but Smith got over there, played it off the wall cleanly, but could not come up with the play. It's a leadoff double in the 3rd inning.
Blue Jays running into the hottest team in the American League. 15-6. The best mark in the month of June as Kane looks at a pitch. They own the worst record in the American League on May 7th. They ended the month of April, did the Royals, dropping 9 in a row. And remember, they didn't make the postseason last year. And so there was a lot of concern after winning it all in 2015. Of course, they went to 7 games in 2014 against the Giants. Came back and took care of business against the Mets, and then they didn't make it last year. Got off to a slow start, and a lot of people felt like, well, maybe this is a team that at the trade deadline would start to look at making some deals and
start to sell.
Yeah.
7-16 in April. 9-game losing streak to end April. Major League worst record at the end of April, but Ned and Yost team has put it together. Baseball's best since June the 10th. They're 11-2. Only the Dodgers are better at 13-1. They're scoring more runs a game. Their defense has been better. It's been the best in Major League Baseball, their defense, and their bullpen's been great. That's how you win.
Kane deep to left field, and Dwight Smith Jr. racing over with a foot on the track. Makes the catch, one away here in the 4th.
Buy 6 cans of Beauty Tone paint and get the 7th free. Available exclusively at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Beauty Tone, Canada's color experts.
Eric Hosmer here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. And Bonifacio back at second. Hosmer grounded out to end the bottom of the 1st. You mentioned the Dodgers. Dodgers, the second team to get to 50 wins. And the major leagues are 50-26. But just 2.5 games up on Arizona. And Hosmer a big hack. Dodgers have won 9 in a row. Houston is 51-25. The reasons for their great success is they're 28-9 are the Astros on the road, and of course
On the road.
28-9. One of the reasons why this 7-game road trip was so important, you look at those final 13 games before the All-Star break. Baltimore for 3, Boston for 3, in the Bronx against the Yankees for 3, and then home to Houston for 4. And Houston, as I mentioned, 28-9 on the road.
Yeah, it's never easy at the major league level. Road, you go on the road, you hope to play 500, maybe a little bit above 500, and then get them at home, but it just never gets easy. Blue Jays running into this team, we mentioned them 15-6 in the month of June. I mean, you play the Royals in April, you sweep them.
Yeah,
right? Or you have a good chance of sweeping them. Yeah. They didn't play much better in May, 15-14, kind of finding their way. But since the calendar has flipped to June, they're one of the best teams in baseball.
Hosmer just reaches out, pokes it into left field, and Bonifacio will score. And a good piece of hitting as that one was placed perfectly through the left side.
Well, one of the reasons for the resurgence offensively is Eric Hosmer has come to life offensively. Hos hitting in that cleanup spot. He's hitting 340, 431 with the ball the other way. When he's pulling the ball, he's not very effective. But when he's staying on the ball and hitting it the other way like he did right there, he becomes a dangerous hitter. He will drive in RBI number 32. Look at that pitch from Liriano, down and away instead of trying to pull it. Single sharply the other way for another run for the Royals.
Hitting .295 against left-handers. And a broken bat. Perez right back to Liriano, out at second. And 2 down. And Perez aboard with a fielder's choice.
That's unfortunate. That's a double play ball. If he comes up with it, that's a double play. But the only out they can get is at second base to keep the inning alive.
Perez at first. And Cuthbert is the batter. It's 2-0 Royals. As we go to the 5th inning, it'll be Goins, Bautista, and Martin. And Blue Jays are going to need their bats to really start humming here on this Sunday. And the pitch is high. Cuthbert last time up, grounded out.
Be careful here.
Yeah.
He's given up 8 home runs again, all on fastballs. This is a fastball count, and Cuthbert loves the fastball. He is gearing for old number 1 right here.
Hitters count. And a balk was called. You can hear the home plate umpire say that's a balk. And so now going down to second base, Sal Perez.
And Liriano was asking the home plate umpire, John Tumpane, did I not come set? Let's see. Well, in his mind, he felt like he didn't come set long enough.
Perez at second. Liriano to the plate. And a strike is called. And a count of 2-1.
Crossed up on him and threw him a slider. He will pitch backwards at times, meaning in fastball counts like that, he'll throw a slider. And that's good for him. Slows him down, slows Liriano down. Another one.
Does he go back there, or does he try to
go there?
Just keep going?
Yeah. His slider's not bad today. It really isn't. He's been beat on his fastball a couple of times.
Perez at second. And lifted foul. Nothing hard right now. Liriano 6-5 with a 4.45 ERA. And 18 appearances in his career against the Royals and 15 starts. Trying to earn his first road win as a Blue Jay, but Jays trail 2-0 on the right side. And that's going to do it here in the 4th inning, but not before Bonifacio scores. And it's 2-0 Royals. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Hazel May with Greg Zahn from the Samsung broadcast studio.
In My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ6735 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. Code must be entered by 4 a.m. and you can look for a new code tomorrow.
To the 5th we move, and it's 2-0 Royals. Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep. Cuthbert in at third base. Goins with runners at first and second back in the second inning. Struck out to end the second. And Hamill to the plate. First pitch swinging, and he promptly drives it back through the middle. Getting base runners has not been an issue here on this Sunday. It's just getting them in.
It's getting them around and scoring them. That's the perfect approach, I think, for Ryan Goins when he's hitting ninth. They're going to challenge you first pitch. Here it is. Don't wait around. Sends it right back through the middle. Good start for the Blue Jays in the fifth. It's not about taking pitches in the number 9 spot when you're leading off. He throws you that first pitch fastball right there. Let her go.
Bautista could tie it up with one swing of the bat. He has 12 home runs. Does Jose. And checking on Goins. Royals 5-1 on this homestand. They took on to Boston, and now here are the Blue Jays. Bautista and Utera keeps it in front of him.
Jose's had a couple of balls in this series to right field. And I think he's done that on purpose, where he's purposely tried to hit the ball to right field. Now with the runner at first base and the second baseman Torres getting close to the bag, double play depth, why not take a shot the other way?
Wide open on the right side.
You're going to see a lot of those pitches right there. Sliders away. You don't want to try and pull those, but you can just hit a 10 hopper through the infield on the right side. Blue Jays need some base runners. Now down 2-0.
And a toss over to first base. His last home run was the first game of this road trip.
He has his share of hits the other way. Mostly a pull hitter. I think you got to pick your situations. He's got 11 hits to right field this year.
There's 2 home runs in the month of June. And the pitch misses. June 9th at Seattle. And then, as I mentioned, on June 19th, when the Blue Jays picked up the victory to start the 7-game road trip, 7-6. Driving this one deep to left field is Jose Bautista, and it is gone. One swing of the bat ties it up.
3-0. I was hoping they would give them the green light, because Jose, he can sit on pitches and knock them out of here. John Gibbons was telling us in Texas he likes to give his experienced hitter the green light, especially who's pitching and who's at the plate, what the score is. If the time runs at the plate and it's Jose Bautista, sure, you give him the green light because he can do this. He changed his thought. He wasn't thinking about hitting the ball to right field. Not when he got ahead 2-0, 3-0. He's thinking about doing exactly what he did. Take that ball out of here.
His second home run on this road trip, and since moving into that leadoff spot, he has been highly productive. At 3-0, and he just launched it deep into left field. And the Blue Jays are tied at 2 here in the top of the 5th. Base hit back through the middle, and a home run. The 13th on the season for Bautista, his 3rd this month after hitting 9 in May.
5 career. 4 for home runs. Jose, that's how you take somebody deep, 3-0. You look Peter and you try and turn on it.
Pitch low. Two balls, 2 strikes. Martin doubled in the top of the first inning. Hamill.
Boy, he's throwing a lot of pitches. Yep. They have really made him work.
84 pitches, now 85, and that is a strike. And the count of 3-2.
Lots of 3-2 counts from Hamill. Just the 5th inning, he's averaging 20 pitches per inning.
Martin gets underneath this one, in the air and out of play.
Third time through now for the Blue Jays against Jason Hamill. First time through, he had 4 strikeouts, and that goes right along with the numbers here. 254 average first time through, but that third time through, and the Blue Jays have made him work. We're only in the 5th inning, and they're starting through for the third time, a 329 batting average.
Against Boston in that victory, he had 91 pitches. This is 87, and it's a walk. Had 98 against the Giants, 85 and 7 innings of work, and a loss to Houston. 96 against Cleveland in a victory, 81 and 4 1/3 innings against Detroit, 98 in a loss to the Yankees. Last time he went over the 100 pitch mark was back on May the 16th here at home against New York. That is the 3rd walk.
And remember, he had 1 walk this whole month of June. So the Blue Jays have really worked him over this afternoon. Donaldson walked in the 3rd inning. Tulowitzki in the 2nd, and now in the 5th, here's Russell on base again.
That walk was against the San Francisco Giants on the road. Donaldson with a count of 1-1. Over at first base, Martin, nobody out. Double play depth through the middle here in the top of the 5th inning. Tied at 2. A base hit by Goins and a home run by Jose Bautista. Hamill, long look, and now to the plate, and Donaldson gets underneath it. Frustrated by missing that pitch as Escobar goes out, calls everyone off. Kane and Merrifield, and there's one away for Smoke.
That was a pitch to hit, and Josh knew it. He was upset with himself after he popped that one up.
And right underneath it.
Looking for it, gets it, it's right there. You don't always hit every mistake. Sometimes you do that. You have to keep telling yourself you got to forget about it and get them next at bat.
So here's Justin Smoke. They extended a hit streak to 10 back in the 3rd. And checking on to Martin at first base. Escobar plays Smoke back of the second base bag. And the third baseman Cuthbert plays him in the hole between 3rd and short. Breaking ball strike. In the month of June, hitting .368, 8 home runs, and 14 RBIs. And he actually has a higher batting average on the road this season than at home. .312, 9 homers and 20 RBIs for Smoke. Martin, small lead at first. Hamill taking time, and the pitch is in the dirt. Butera, great job of getting in front of it.
Yeah, we can't say enough about what Smoke has done offensively. Extra base hits. He's trying to get the ball in the air. Before, they would play 3 infielders on the right side of the infield, and now he's been hitting the ball the other way. So they're in pole position, but they're not in shift position, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Right back through the middle, and they had him played perfectly. And Escobar, his 6th error, and Smoke is aboard. I mean, that's the tough part, and it goes back to what you mentioned in the last inning when we were talking about hitting, about the gaps and about line to line and getting the ball in the air. I mean,
there's too much information out there. Everybody knows where you're going to hit the ball. Escobar just got ahead of himself right there. He was thinking about 2, pulled his head. You see his head look up to see where second base was. He was going to take that by himself. Kansas City Royals, that's just their 27th error all season long. That's the fewest in the major leagues, as Scott Alexander gets a ball and starts to throw. But he just got ahead of himself there, just a little bit too quick trying to turn that double play. Let's see if the Blue Jays can take advantage of the error.
That was a base hit 3, 4, 5 years ago. Not anymore.
No, that was a single through the middle.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
There would have been runners on first and third.
Yeah. And that goes back to your point about get it in the air.
Get it in the air, because ground balls do nothing anymore.
Unless you're able to find your way through the infield with the shift on.
There's just too much information, and hitting is about timing, and man, you get to see 3 guys on that one side of the infield. It's tough to hit the ball the other way if you're not used to it.
95 pitches for Hamill, and he has slowed down considerably here in the top of the 5th inning. See if Morales can come through here. He is hitless today. Opportunity with a walk and an error and 1 away. And he gets underneath it. And it's fouled back. Count of 1-2.
He got him his first time up, did Hamill, with a slider. If you remember that, down and in. Pitchers have been throwing a lot of slow stuff to Kendrick, trying to get him out in front of home plate, trying to get him too quick. Here's another slow one. Tough to keep that ball fair.
Goins a single, Bautista a home run, a walk to Martin. Donaldson just missed one, skied it high in the air, but Escobar played it, and then Smoke reaches on an error by Escobar. Runners at first and second here. Morales awaits the 1-2 pitch from Hamill. Got him swinging. And 6th strikeout by Jason Hamill. And Troy Tulowitzki is the hitter. Walked back in the 2nd and drove one to deep center field in the 4th.
There's a 4-seamer. Challenge job upstairs. Morales doesn't have any problems with those fastballs. That one, though, was up and away and out of the strike zone. Blue Jays have another runner in scoring position. Can they bust through against Hamill?
Breaking ball with strike. Shared the numbers earlier. He has just been so tough with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Tulowitzki with a home run yesterday. And did he go around? Yes, he did. And he come through here down in the count with 2 out, 2 on, and a count of 0-2.
You're going to have to battle now with 2 strikes. Lots of sliders. That's his go-to pitch when he needs an out.
Tulo 4 for 10 in this series. The 0-2 misses, and a good job of laying off of it. Martin back at second. Smoke over at first base. Kane playing Tulowitzki toward the gap in right center. And the wind fluttering out toward right field. Clouds covering up Kauffman Stadium now as this one is fouled off to the right side. Hamill just trying to get through this 5th inning here.
Up over 100 pitches.
Yeah.
It might be his last this afternoon. His splits, he's been actually better against left-handed batters this year. Righties have had a higher batting average against him. He's missed too many times with that slider. Ooh, he missed there. His spot.
He's up.
That's middle on a breaking ball, and that's going to bring Drew Butera to the mound.
Got away with one against Donaldson and gets away with one here against Tulowitzki.
Just through the timing of Tulowitzki's swing off a hair. You can see his front side was opening up a little bit too quickly. It was out on that front foot just a little bit too quick. But that was a hanger. And he's given up 5 home runs to righties. Now 6 with Bautista, 5 to lefties. That was a home run pitch and a home run swing.
Count evens now 2-2, 2 out and 2 on. And a 2-2 ball game here in the top of the 5th inning. Blue Jays 4 games under 500. 16-22 on the road. And trying to pick one up here. Can they come through here with 2 outs and 2 on? Tulowitzki awaits the Hamill delivery. In the air to right field and moving over Bonifacio underneath it. And that'll do it. A 2-run home run off of the bat of Jose Bautista ties it up at 2. We head to the home half of the 5th inning in Kansas City.
At Rogers Center. Well, Rogers wants you to submit your baseball dream at RogersCelebrates.com, and your baseball dream could come true. Matt?
Blue Jays picked up a pair in the top of the 5th inning. It's going to be the bottom third of the order for Ned Yost. And if you have followed the Jays over the last 2 games, you understand how problematic the bottom third has been for the Blue Jays. It's the bottom of the 5th inning, tied at 2. Mariano will see Escobar first. And Escobar takes a pitch.
Yeah, he's been the main culprit.
Yep.
Mr. Escobar against the Blue Jays is only hitting .208 this year with a home run and 19 driven in. But he seems like he has been in on every rally that the Royals have had over the first couple of games.
Bautista right there and a 1 away. Jose hitting his 13th home run back in the top of the 5th. Torres is the batter here with a 1 away in the home half of the 5th, and then Butera. Liriano to the plate. And a strike. Gave up that solo home run off of the bat of Bonifacio back at the bottom of the 1st inning, and then a leadoff double in the 4th. He was able to get out of the jam in the 4th inning. Had retired 8 in a row after the solo home run and before Bonifacio got a double. Right back through the middle.
Drive home in the all-new 2017 CR-V. Always a fun way to end the game. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Great tradition and history here in Kansas City with the Royals.
Ramon Torres with the base hit to center field. He was named a rising star just a couple of years ago in the Arizona Fall League, hitting just under 300 now for Kansas City. Here comes the bottom of the order again, like you said.
Butera popped out in the 3rd. Jays tied it in the top of the 5th. Butera awaits. Liriano checks in over at first. Torres is back easily. Ground ball chop. Donaldson racing in. 1 play. That's at first. 2 down and a runner now at second base. And Merrifield will be the hitter. Merrifield went to South Carolina. Tear the frustration there as he grounds out. While he was at South Carolina, Justice Smoke was at South Carolina as well. And they spent a year together there.
And we asked Smokey about him today. He said he was small in college, couldn't get the ball out of the infield with an aluminum bat. Played outfield, though, had a big hit for South Carolina. In fact, the game-winning hit in the College World Series.
Yep. In Omaha, Nebraska, Rosenblatt Stadium.
Again, he did not make the team out of spring training. Was sent down. Raul Mondesi was the infielder that made the team out of spring training, and Merrifield got sent down. When Mondesi didn't work out, he was called back up, and his attitude is, I'm going to stay here.
Ground ball backhanded by Goins, a throw to first, got him. And what a play by Ryan Goins on the backhand that saves a run. Merrifield, ground ball back through the middle. Goins cuts him down at first base by half a step. We remain tied at 2. Let's go to the 6th.
Friday, July 7th, you can join on the outdoor patio at gates 10 and 11 for a pregame concert featuring the Bros. Patio opens at 4:30. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com.
Scott Alexander is the left-handed pitcher, and this will be the second time that we see him in this series, all on a Friday night.
17 games, 0-1, 138 earned run average, fastball, two-seamer, tight slider, and a good feel for his changeup. And with the left-hander being into this ball game, that's going to make a change for the Blue Jays.
Darwin Barney will hit for Dwight Smith Jr., who struck out twice. The numbers for Barney. Hamill worked 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 3 walks and 6 strikeouts, and allowed a home run, the 11th that he has given up, and that was to Jose Bautista in the last inning. Top half of the 6th. And Blue Jays looking for a go-ahead run here. Had an opportunity in the 5th inning to add more, but unfortunately not able to pick up Martin, who was at second, and Smoke, who had reached base by an error over at first.
And the 3rd inning, they left a couple of runners, and the 2nd inning, they left a couple of runners. Haven't been able to solve Mr. Hamill with runners in scoring position.
Barney starts the 6th with a base hit. And a big turn at first. Blue Jays have left 7 already. See if they can get it going here.
Darwin's going to get this low pitch from Alexander. About Alexander's reaction after he threw that pitch. I think he even knew on the way to the plate that that ball was going to be hit hard. He's a graduate of Sonoma State. And Alexander gives up a base hit to his first batter. Blue Jays saw him on Friday for an inning. Gave up a hit to Tulowitzki, and then Dwight Smith Jr. got a hit off of him the other way. Darwin Barney greets him with a base hit up the middle.
Pilar, the batter, he is 1 for 2. And Alexander misses low. And the 2-0 misses in tight in the count of 3-0. Let's see what they do with Pilar here. Bautista hit that home run on a 3-0 count. You have Barney. Over at first.
He might give him the green light.
Looks at a strike there.
You know he's going to give his veterans the green light. Steve Pearce has picked up a bat and he's come out on deck. The veterans, he gives them the green light, especially, what did he say, if they can untie a game or a home run can give them a tie depending on the pitcher or the inning.
And missing in tight, so runners now at first and second, and a great opportunity here for Steve Pearce. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Goins singled to start the top of the 5th inning on a base hit off of Jason Hamill, and then scored on the home run off of the bat of Bautista. And Pearce will hit for Goins. And Barney will play second, and then Pearce will go out to left field.
It's interesting, isn't it? He knew that a couple of lefties coming up this inning as Peter Moreland starts to warm up down in that bullpen, but he knew, John Gibbons knew there were some lefties, Smith and Goins, coming up. That's why Alexander's in the game, but he didn't want to hit Pearce then Barney. At Barney first, a little bit better on base percentage. And if a couple of runners get on, now we got a guy who can juice the ball and drive some runs in. So this has worked out nicely so far.
Yep. 5 home runs, hitting .252 is Steve Pearce. And the first pitch misses in. And you can't imagine if Pierce finds his way aboard that Bautista will see Alexander. The lefty.
One way or another, this is his last batter, right? He is getting hot in a hurry down in that bullpen.
2-0 the count here. Barney is at second. Pilar walked. He's at first. Blue Jays have stranded 7 runners already. Great opportunity here to pick up a couple.
Wow, he's fighting himself right
big
now.
time.
He wasn't happy with the pitch that he threw to Barney, and it seems to have set him off, and he hasn't been able to throw a strike since that base hit.
Well, Pilar was taking on 3-0. Let's see what Pierce does here. He looks at ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Bautista. And Ned Yost out of the dugout. And he is walking swiftly out towards the mound. And he's going to bring in the right-hander to face Jose Bautista here. A single and 2 walks. And Jose Bautista has a phenomenal opportunity here in the top of the 6th inning. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Blue Jays were down by 2 runs after leadoff single by Ryan Goins. This 3-0 pitch from Jose Bautista. He gets the green light and it is not coming back. See you later. Jose Bautista is going to tie up the ball game with 1 swing. Circles the bases. And that is our drive of the game this afternoon. And Jose's got a chance to do something special this afternoon. He now has the bases loaded.
Breaking ball down low and away. He has not had a multi-home run game this season.
Well, if he does it here against Peter Moylan, Moylan's numbers are not very good this year, 646, but he's never given up a run to the Blue Jays in his career. He has thrown 6 2/3 innings. He's had 9 strikeouts and an .050 batting average. For some reason, the Blue Jays have not been able to pick up his pitches. He's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastball, slider. Jose is 0 for 4 in his career against Moylan. Just think Darren O'Day. Jose's had a lot of success against Darren O'Day.
1-1 in tight. Bautista 5 career grand slams.
All-time RBIs in franchise history, has a chance to pass Joe Carter with 1 swing of the bat.
2 away from Joe. And the pitch misses. And the crowd doesn't like it. Butera now walks out to Moylan, and you can see Moylan all over the home plate umpire. Furious with that non-call that makes it 3-1.
He was beaking at him, and now the bench is beaking at him. That's the difference between 2-2 and 3-1. That comeback fastball is called a ball.
He's like, where was it? Did not get that strike call. Bases are loaded for Bautista. The 3-1 in tight. Ball 4. An RBI for Jose. And Moylan walks off of the mound halfway to home and now turns back around as he walks in a run.
Well, guys, John Tumpain is the home plate umpire. He's only 34 years old. He's gotten into the crosshairs of Matt Carpenter earlier this season. Carpenter bumped him, was suspended for a game back in April. Yasmani Grandal of the Dodgers also complained about his strike zone earlier this season.
It's been an inconsistent one today. And you hear the crowd reaction.
The hitters don't mind it.
Except for Justin Smoke. he didn't appreciate it in the top of the first. Bases full of Jays. And a count of 1-1. Blue Jays with a 1-run lead here. And the top of the 6th. Nobody out. It started with a Barney base hit, a walk to Pilar, a walk to Pierce, a walk to Bautista. And here's Martin, and the Jays looking for more. And a strike. Hear the crowd reaction. Outfield straightaway, double play depth through the middle. Pilar a walking lead at third. 4 grand slams, hitting .295 in his career with the bases loaded. Mike Minor, the left-hander. In the bullpen for Kansas City.
Russell's choking up on that bat, trying to get some control with it. Doesn't want to strike out here.
Set up outside in the 1-2. Ground ball chopped, misplayed by Cuthbert. Scooped up, fires to first, and everyone is safe. And the Jays lead 4-2 as Pilar scores.
Uncharacteristically, the Kansas City Royals have a couple of errors this afternoon. They couldn't get an out anywhere. I think he was coming home with that ball initially. Bases loaded. He's going to try and cut the run off at the plate. And in his haste to get the ball out of his glove, it pops out. So he had time, though, if he came up with a good throw at first base to get the runner. He can't even do that. And now Moylan walks the leadoff batter. The defense doesn't help him. The Blue Jays still looking for that big hit to break open a game.
Pierce is at third. Bautista at second with a lead. Martin is at first. Donaldson 0 for 2, frustrated back in the 5th inning when he just missed a breaking ball from Hamill and he popped out to the shortstop Escobar.
Remember I said at the time, forget about it. You got to put it in the past because you're going to have another chance. Well, here's a chance right here.
Bases loaded. Into right field, curving toward the line. It gets down, a base hit for Donaldson. 1 run is in. Bautista scores, and it's a double with the bases loaded, in the Blue Jays lead 6-2 as Donaldson hits it to right. Pierce scores easily. Bautista scores from second.
Both of Josh's big hits have come to right field against some tough pitches. Remember the one the other night that got the Blue Jays a run in the 8th, or excuse me, the 9th inning. Now here in the 6th, he's going to score 2. Slicing that double down the right field line, and that's going to take Peter Moylan out of this ball game. Could not retire a batter.
Alexander couldn't retire a batter. Moylan with words for the home plate umpire, John Tumpane. And the crowd getting behind their right-hander, Peter Moylan. But the Blue Jays break through here in the top of the 6th. Mike Minor comes in, and you watch Peter Moylan leave here, and he turns to the home plate umpire, John Tumpane, and has a couple of words for him. And as he is exiting, he throws Moylan out. And this is the third pitcher used here in the top of the 6th by Ned Yost. There's nobody out. Runners at second and third. And it is the hot hitting Justin Smoak.
Going to turn the switch hitters around, so they bring in Mike Minor. 31 games now for Minor this year. He was a starter in the Atlanta Braves organization. He's held lefties to a 130 average. But that's not going to do anything here with the switch hitters coming up.
Smoak hitting .390, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs against left-handers this season.
Blue Jays have a golden opportunity to have a huge inning here. Put this one away once and for all.
Ground ball, and hung up at third was Pierce, and one away. Pardon me, Martin at third. Pierce had scored already. So Martin remains at third.
Infield's halfway. See what they're going to do here. If they're going to pitch to Morales with just 1 out. Looks like they're going to pitch to him.
So 1 away, the first out of the top of the 6th. Donaldson at second, Martin with a lead at third. Morales awaits, and the pitch is in tight, and a count of 1-0. Morales against lefties is hitting .318, 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. And they get to Mike Minor here, in the pitch down and in.
Minor has starter stuff. All 4 of the pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup. But coming out of the bullpen, he can give you multiple innings. We'll rely on that slider.
Over the last 10 games, Morales hitting .368, 3 homers and 9 RBIs. Martin with the lead at third. Donaldson back at second. And this one driven foul. 4 runs in here in this top of the 6th inning. 3 walks, an error, and a double by Donaldson. It all started with a Barney pinch hit single.
2 more out there for the Blue Jays. We all know what happened in the ninth inning on Friday. Let's put this one away.
Ground ball, and Martin coming home. The play at the plate, not in time. Safe, sliding in head first is Martin. Runners at the corners.
On all of these close plays, you're going to take a timeout so that each team can take a look at that and see if they want to replay. Blue Jays are running contact on this play. Russell Martin comes in and he's safe.
Yeah.
He's safe. They are not going to look at this one. That's a good call by Tumpane. Watch him elude the tag, get the hand in there. The tag came late, if at all. And the Blue Jays steal a run on a ground out. Russell knows all about this play, being a catcher. Good call.
44th RBI for Morales. And Tulowitzki swings and misses. Donaldson moves over now to third. Runners at the corners. Morales at first. Donaldson at third. And Tulo awaits and fouls it back. Darwin Barney is on deck, and he started the inning with a base hit. That was against Scott Alexander. Then Peter Moylan came in after Alexander couldn't record an out. Moylan couldn't record an out. He got eventually tossed out after being taken out by Ned Yost, and Mike Minor is the pitcher, and Tulo went around. So Tulowitzki strikes out here, and there are two down, and here is Darwin Barney as the Jays have batted around here in the sixth.
Come on, 2 hits in 1 inning. You can do it. That would mean a run for the Blue Jays.
And there's a strike.
Minor's going to nothing but sliders with runners on base. He needed a strikeout against Tulowitzki. He got it with a 3 straight breaking balls. And he leads Darwin Barney off with a breaking ball.
It's a 5-run lead here in the top of the 6th inning for the Blue Jays, as the Jays try to end a 3-game slide and pick up their 3rd win on this road trip. And Barney in the air to the right side. Torres moving over, and he's able to come away with it. And that is the 3rd and final out here, the top of the 6th. But the Blue Jays come through with 5 runs and a double for Josh Donaldson. And we head down to AAA Buffalo.
Sparkman is on a rehab assignment. He's had a couple of games down there, 6 innings pitched. He's a Rule 5 draft from actually the Kansas City Royals organization. June 30th is the key date. That's the date that he has to come back to the Blue Jays or be offered back to Kansas City. From all indications are they really like this kid. They like his arm. He has to be in the big leagues or offered back to the Kansas City Royals by June the 30th, so we'll keep an eye on that. But he's had a couple of starts down in the minor leagues and looks pretty good. We had that shot of Darwin Barney. He stays in the game at second base, and there's Steve Pearce taking up position in left field after they both pinch hit last inning.
Blue Jays come through with 5 runs in the top of the 6th. Bonifacio is 2 for 2, a home run and a double and a run scored against Liriano. And a comfortable 5-run lead for Liriano here. And an opportunity to just get out there and attack the Royal hitters.
Now with the lead. It's an interesting thing. We were just talking about Glenn Sparkman, that he's got to be in the big leagues. Can he be this year's Joe Biagini?
Yeah,
I bet you he's here.
Blue Jays could use that.
Yeah, it's another fresh arm down in that bullpen. He got hurt in spring training. He's been on the disabled list, and now he's finishing up his rehab by the 30th. And P. Walker says he likes his arm, and there's a really good chance that he's going to make this team. Just has to stay in the big leagues for the rest of this season.
Liriano to the plate with the 2-2. Did he go around? They will not check, and the count now runs full. Be nice for the lefty if he could work a 1-2-3 inning here, a quick inning. High in the air, shallow right center field, going out is Barney. He's being called off by the right fielder Bautista as we check in with Hazel. That's going to start the homestand for the Blue Jays. Baltimore and then Boston over the weekend, and then to New York and to back home against the Houston Astros. Lorenzo Cain hitless. He struck out in the bottom of the 1st, flew out to left in the 4th. Liriano misses away. And a count of 2-0 now to Cain. Cain high in the air down the left field line. Is it fair or foul? It's just foul, says Joe West.
Blue Jays have done a good job against Cain. We told you the month of June has been a good month for him. He's hit 8 home runs this month, 325 batting average. He's 1 for 10 as he steps to the plate in the 6th inning. Keep him off the bases. He can really run.
Had a double on Friday night and was unable to hold up. 80 pitches now for Liriano.
That should be enough if he can get through this inning and then one more, making life a little bit easier for John Gibbons. Francisco is going for his 100th career win today, and his first win as a Blue Jay on the road.
Another solid outing by a starter. See 99 and 95 in his career. We talked about that earlier with Jay Happ. He has 3 straight quality starts now. Looped in the air to right, and this one is going to drop in for a base hit. And his second hit in this series. And then yesterday with DeMarco. June 14th, Liriano worked 7 innings against Tampa. Gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned.
Low strikeout total, no walks so far for Liriano. That's why that pitch count's in pretty good shape. That's what these guys do.
Yeah.
They don't walk, they don't strike out. The Royals, they're up there swinging.
Hosmer. And first pitch swinging. Double play ball. 6-4-3. And that's going to do it in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hosmer, first pitch swinging, ground ball to Tulowitzki, to Barney, to Smoke. Through 6, Blue Jays on top 7-2.
'17 returns with fast pace, pick up and play MLB action, packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. You can get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Learn more at rbigame.com.
5th pitcher on now for the Royals.
This is Neftali Feliz. Blue Jays know all about Feliz. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers opening night at the Rogers Center. Got off to a terrific start this year with the Milwaukee Brewers. They were hitting 185 against him through his first 17 appearances, but from May the 10th on, he was not very good. So they released him. Kansas City has taken a flyer on him. Another power arm down in that bullpen. Maybe the Royals can straighten him out. He was the 2010 American League Rookie of the Year when he was with the Texas Rangers. He just signed with this team, the Royals, as a free agent on Friday. And this is his first appearance with Kansas City.
29-year-old will work against Pilar, who drives this one into the gap, and it's going to get all the way to the wall. Pilar heading into second base with a leadoff double, his 2nd hit of the game. He walked in, scored in the 6th.
He also singled his first time up. He's not wasting any time against Feliz. Earlier this year when we saw Neftali Feliz, he was throwing upper 90s with his fastball. That one didn't look like it was 95 at all. It looked like it was about an average fastball. And Pilar jumped all over it.
It was a sunny and nice day, 25 degrees. Clouds now covering Kauffman Stadium. They are turning the lights on, and rightfully so. It has gotten dark, a little bit gloomy here, and quite cool for this time of the year.
I tell you, I've played here a couple of years. These kind of thunderstorms, if there are thunderstorms out there, that's what we understand, come out of nowhere.
Here's the batter. He walked and scored back in the 6th. Pilar with a double. He's at second and the Blue Jays lead 7-2. Well, once you hit July here and into August with the humidity, Pierce rolls it out to first. And Pilar will move down to third. And there's one down, and Bautista is the batter who delivered a 2-run home run in the 5th and a walk and an RBI back in the 6th. But it can be extremely hot, and there's a time when you played here you'd actually have to put your cleats
on ice in between the innings because of the AstroTurf. It got so hot, the metal got so hot it would actually burn your feet. So you were hoping for some quick innings. It would get so hot out here. Not anymore with the grass.
Infield is in, and an RBI here would tie Jose Bautista with Joe Carter for 4th most in the history of the Blue Jays. Pilar with a lead down at third. Leads to the plate, and it's outside, and a count of 1-1 here.
Jose has had one hit against Phillies in his career. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, long one. Home run.
He likes leading off. He's batting better than 400 as a leadoff hitter. And it has done exactly what this. Remember, this is the first game where it's all come together the way that John Gibbons envisioned it. 1 through 5 with Bautista, Martin, Donaldson, Smoke, and Morales. And then you drop Pilar down, and he's been a key factor. Ground ball through the infield, and it's an RBI single for Jose Bautista, tying him with Joe Carter for 4th most RBIs in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays.
He's had a great afternoon. He had a 2-run home run in the 5th, walked with the bases loaded in the 6th, and now cashes that run in from third base. Jose now 4 away from George Bell all time. Carlos Delgado out in front of everybody with 1,058. But those are some heavy hitters in Blue Jays history on that board right there, fellas. Infield in, trying to cut that run off at the plate. It's the 3rd time that Jose has gone to right field for a base hit.
His 5th game leading off for the Blue Jays, and it is the 3rd multi-hit game. And he has scored 5 times. And today, of course, the 4 RBIs. Also, real quick on Pilar. Pilar moving down. He's 7 for 15 now since
they moved him down.
And 2 doubles. Trying not to do too much, right?
Yeah, and Gibby said, I want to take some of the pressure off of him.
Martin into right field, and it hangs in the air for Bonifacio, 2 away.
He's had success down at the bottom of the order, and they're just going to run with this lineup for a while and see where it takes them. I don't think anything is written in ink on that lineup card. It's written in pencil, and they can always erase it. But right now, it's working for them. Today, Blue Jays 9 hits, 8 runs.
Donaldson with a double back in the 6th, and he picked up a pair of RBIs. A great at bat for Josh as he served it out to right field on a tough pitch. And 2 away here, and the pitch misses away, and a count of 1-1 with 2 outs. Jays add another run. It's 8-2. Chop back of the second base bag. Underhand toss to second. And Bautista is out, but not before the Jays add another run here in the top of the 7th inning. It's stretch time in Kansas City. And the Blue Jays lead 8-2. Bautista comes through again. Contest is on now, Tabby. Enter for your chance to cheer on the Blue Jays in New York City with WestJet. Go to bluejays.com/WestJet contest to enter. Time now for the schedule ahead, brought to you by WestJet. And
buckle up.
yeah, here you go.
Back into the American League East go the Blue Jays. It'll start on Tuesday night at the Rogers Center with the Baltimore Orioles for 3 games, and they will welcome the Boston Red Sox in. A quick 3 games in New York, and then it's going to finish off the first half with 4 games against the Houston Astros. Games against the Baltimore Orioles have always been entertaining. Kevin Gausman will go against Joe Biagini, Wade Miley versus Marcus Stroman, and Ubaldo Jimenez versus Jay Happ. Always entertaining, always a lot of fun. And American League East baseball is always a lot of fun. Back and forth, grinding them out every day. Jose Bautista in the leadoff spot has had a good game. Get him going. He's always had some big hits against the Orioles.
Yeah, great to see Jose really breaking through here over the last 5 games. Liriano, you see the line. And he has pitched well.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts, no walks. So his pitch count is in good shape to get through the 7th inning. 6 innings for Liriano, 5 hits, just 2 earned runs. The last time he went 7 innings was 2 starts ago. That was against Tampa Bay. He's only gone 7 innings once this year. This would be twice if he can get through this inning.
Bottom of the 7th inning here, and Sal Perez, second on the Royals with 15 home runs, will start things here. He's a designated hitter today. I mentioned earlier about Mike Moustakas. He leads the team in home runs with 19 and on pace right now for 43, which would break the team mark held by Steve Alboni, who hit 36 back in 1985. 508 players have hit 37 or more home runs. No one ever wearing a Kansas City Royal uniform, as this one is crushed to deep center field off of the center field wall. Perez now makes his way to second, and it's a leadoff double. They're the only franchise that does not have a 40 home run hitter. They've had some that have come close. I think Perez may be one of them this year, and he just misses out here.
This would have been 16 straight away to center field. The ballpark has something to do with what you were just talking about. This is one of the biggest ballparks in all of baseball. That's 410 feet. He hit that line drive to center field. That's a home run in a lot of other ballparks. Maybe Detroit, the only other one that it's not a home run, but expansive ballpark. So you better get guys who can swing the bat and who can run to play in this ballpark.
Cuthbert is the batter. Jermaine Dye back in 2000 had 33 home runs. Dean Palmer in 1998 had 34. Gary Gaetti in 95, as Danny Barnes is up at the bullpen, hit 35 home runs for the Royals. And back in 1987, Danny Tartable hit 34 for the Royals. Pitched down and in. So Barnes getting up at the bullpen as the Blue Jays lead 8-2 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Perez at second. Cuthbert is the batter. He is hitless. And then it's the bottom third of the order. Escobar's on deck. He has been quiet today, which kind of concerns you a little bit.
It just shows you how well Liriano has thrown. Mr. Martin with a nice quick visit out there just to take the crowd out of the ball game and just make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Liriano misses there in a count of 3-0. Barnes continues to warm up. Barnes pitched on Friday night in the inning and gave up a hit, also had a strikeout. And the 3-0 is a strike. Cuthbert awaits. And did he go around? Yes, he did.
Thank you. Looked like it might have been ball 4.
Blue Jays put up a pair in the 5th. They added 5 in the 6th, 1 in the top of the 7th, and a walk at runners at 1st and 2nd now. And here comes John Gibbons, and he's going to the bullpen. So runners at 1st and 2nd. Escobar had 3 hits last night. He is hitless here today, and Liriano works 6+, and John Gibbons takes the baseball from the lefty, and he leaves with an 8-2 lead, and he'll hand it over to Danny Barnes in the bullpen. Allows 6 hits. Runners at 1st and 2nd, his responsibility. And here is Danny Barnes.
Danny got a hold in this series. He did that on Friday night. Threw an inning, gave up a hit, had a strikeout. He hasn't allowed a run, an earned run, over his last 8 games. His fastball has been money. He's been using his changeup. Righties hitting 182, lefties 175. What he could use right now is a ground ball. I can see one off of what that changeup. Escobar, how about a ground ball for a double play?
And a pitch up and in. Escobar has a 6-game hit streak. He's hitting .381 over the last 6 games. Hitless here.
Blue Jays have turned 62 double plays. They turned a big one last inning to end the 6th inning off the bat of Eric Hosmer. Could use one here.
Big swing and pitch out of the zone. Perez a double off of center field wall. And Cuthbert a walk. Barnes a right-hander. Looks in for the sign. And it's starting to drizzle right now. And it's fouled back. You start to see some people leave their seats. And they're looking for a little bit of cover as it begins to sprinkle just a little bit harder now.
Blue Jays looking for a ground ball. Fans are looking for some cover.
Double play depth back through the middle. Barnes checks in, looks back at second. And a pitch misses down and in. And now it's coming down harder. The rain here in Kansas City on this Sunday. And you start seeing the fans flee for cover. And they'll all nestle in under the concourse level here at Kauffman Stadium. And the pitch just misses. And a count of 3-2 now to Escobar. No one out, bottom of the 7th. And fouled off to the right side. Liriano allowed a solo home run back in the bottom of the 1st, Tabby. Bonifacio then doubled in the 4th and later scored on a base hit by Hosmer. Other than that, Royals have been quiet.
Had a couple of base runners here and there, but they've been able to pitch out of it. Pitch out of this one.
High in the air to right center. Pilar calling for it, drifting over, and he makes a catch. 1 down.
Well, that helps right there to get a hitter who's always been a thorn in the side of the Blue Jays, coming up with big base hits. That's a can of corn to center field. Danny Barnes has done a really good job of inheriting runners and then keeping them out there. He's inherited 16 runners. Only 3 of them have scored all season long. He throws strikes. He's very aggressive. Comes right after him.
Switch hitter turns around. Torres with runners at 1st and 2nd. Donaldson comes in at 3rd, a step. Smoke plays back of Cuthbert and in the air to Pilar, and Pilar calls off Pierce, and he'll make the grab. And there are 2 down now here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Barnes will try to retire Butera and get out of the bottom of the 7th, leaving Perez and Cuthbert.
Yeah, saving these runs from Liriano. That's why you love to have those guys coming out of that bullpen who strand runners. These runners are for his starter, Liriano. You know Danny wants to save it for him.
Butera 0 for 2, popped out and grounded out, and a first pitch strike. Beliveau is a lefty. Tepera is a right-hander. Rain's picking up a little bit, but nothing significant as of yet. Barnes pours in a fastball, and quickly 0-2 now to Butera. One and 2 the count.
That's the slider right there from Danny Barnes. Danny says, I've been trying to work that into what I throw. Everybody knows I use the fastball down and up in the strike zone and a changeup. I got to give him a new wrinkle. And that new wrinkle has been a slider. Been working on that, trying to get a little bit more break on it.
And it hops up to the plate.
That's the changeup. He hasn't had the feel for it just yet. He's thrown a couple of them and he's bounced them up to the plate.
Pete Walker, the pitching coach, was on the phone to see if everyone was ready down in the bullpen. Barnes comes set. He stares at Perez. Checks on Cuthbert, and the pitch just off the outside, and he was ahead of the count 0-2. And a count of 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 away with 2 on here.
Runners will get a head start. Perez isn't the fastest guy in baseball, but now with the 3-2 count, he'll get a little bit of a head start at second base.
Runners going, hit in the air to left field, and Pierce is right there, and that's going to do it. And great job by Barnes. First 2 on, and he gets out of the inning. 8-2 Blue Jays.
Now you can live stream every Blue Jays game, MLB matchup, and get your news 24/7 with Sportsnet Central. To sign up and get 7 days free, visit sportsnetnow.ca. Matt.
Great Frank White here with the statue outside Kauffman Stadium, and Kevin McCarthy is on, the right-hander.
Selected by the Royals in 2013. That was in the 16th round. McCarthy was just recalled on Monday. His 5 games this year, didn't make the team out of spring training. He's been up and down this year. There are his numbers. No record, a .324 earned run average. He's 6'3", 210 pounds. Got a nice arm and a nice delivery. He's been a long man out of the bullpen for them. He's thrown a couple of innings twice this year.
25 years of age, from Rockville Center, New York. Smoke, Morales, and Tulowitzki here. And the pitch down and in. Smoke is 1 for 4 with a base hit back in the 3rd. Reach base on an error in the 5th. Jays lead 8-2. Pitch misses, and count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Blue Jays trying to avoid a sweep. For the Royals, they have handled their business with respect to taking care of series. With the wins in the first 2 games of this series against Toronto, the Royals have now won 5 consecutive sets, dating back to a 2-1 visit against San Diego back in June 9th through the 11th.
They have not swept the Blue Jays in a 3-game series since July of 1993. And there's Dominic Leone as he is up. Blue Jays, yes, they've had their problems here in this ballpark, but they haven't been swept. And if things stay the way they are here, going to be like that. They are not going to get swept. 1993 was the last time, and that was a World Series team.
Looks as though the rain has stopped. It was sprinkling. And Morales looks at a pitch low. Morales hitless here. He did come up with an RBI back in the 6th inning on a ground ball. One ball, one strike here at the top of the 8th.
He was a reliever mainly in his minor league career. He only had 5 starts in his minor league career. Came up for a little bit last year with the Royals. Got his first taste of the big leagues against the White Sox. Major league win was September the 16th against the White Sox, but he's been a reliever basically his whole career in the minor leagues for the Royals. 3 straight, I think I said 3 straight appearances where he's had at least 2 innings out of the bullpen. Right now he's struggling to find the plate with his changeup.
Went to Marist College. Not a Division I baseball powerhouse. And when he made his major league debut in 2016, he became the first player from Marist to appear in a big league game as he strikes out Morales. And Tulowitzki's going to be the batter here with a runner over at first base.
No problem with that changeup. 85 miles an hour, a little dip right at the end.
Tulowitzki awaits, and the pitch is low. Here in the top half of the 8th inning. Blue Jays with a 6-run lead. They're 2-4 on this road trip. And for the last 3 games, including today, they've got solid pitching from their starters. And I know that has not been the story, as the pitch misses down low and away prior to the last 3. You saw the struggles in Texas. But Jay Happ and Marco Estrada, they were on point, both of them.
Everything looks better, doesn't it? When you get good starting pitching, the games are crisp.
And then, you know, John Gibbons changed the lineup. And all of a sudden this lineup 1 through 5, you drop down Pilar and it's coming through. This, remember, was the first game that all that was kind of put into place. Starting to sprinkle once again. And the right-hander to the plate, and Tulowitzki in the air to center field, and a base hit for Tulo. And runners at first and second base. Liriano, the left-hander, worked 6+ innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. Both earned a walk and 2 strikeouts.
Just couldn't get through that 7th inning. First 2 batters reached. He was out though, and a solid outing today for Liriano. If the Blue Jays can win this ball game, Liriano will have career win number 100.
And Buter out to the hill to have a word with McCarthy. What do you think the biggest difference for Liriano today in comparison to this past Tuesday in Texas, when he gave up those 4 runs in the bottom of the 1st?
4 runs in the 1st inning. It seemed like everything was up, didn't it? In Texas, he gave up the home run to Gomez on the 1st pitch. Gave up the home run on a fastball that was up in the 2nd inning. You could tell, and we talked about that in the 1st inning, if his slider is good, and his slider was good today. He was able to throw it for strikes, but for the most part, he kept the ball down.
Barney started the top of the 6th inning with a pinch hit single and later scored, and that was the inning where the Blue Jays batted around. He ended the inning popping out to the second baseman Torres. But the Blue Jays came through with 5 runs, had 2 hits, an error by the Royals, and 3 walks in that inning. And a ground ball. Escobar, the second out onto first. And a double play. 6-4-3. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Hazel May with Greg Zahn from the Samsung broadcast studio.
To smoke the vote and send Justin Smoke to the All-Star game. You can vote up to 5 times daily. Head to bluejays.com/vote before June 29th to help send the Blue Jays first baseman to the Midsummer Classic.
He deserves it. There's no doubt about that. He has just been outstanding this season, and it's time for a new pitcher for John Gibbons.
Dominic Leone for the 28th time this year. This is the first time that he has pitched in this series. First time the Royals are going to have a look at him. He last pitched 5 days ago. That was down in Texas. Dominic had a hit and an earned run and a strikeout in his 1 inning of work against the Rangers. So far this year, he's 1-0 with a .362 earned run average, averaging a strikeout an inning. Leone has given the Blue Jays some valuable innings out of middle relief. Today, with an 8-2 lead, he will pitch in the 8th inning, face the top of the order.
Fouled back off of the bat of Whit Merrifield. He's hitless here today. Right-hander comes set. Blue Jays lead 8-2. And quickly 0-2. It's 25 degrees when the game started. Now it's 23. It's still sprinkling. It's very light rain shower as Merrifield fouls it back. Bottom half of the 8th inning here.
This guy's been a tough out.
Yeah.
He has really set the tone for them offensively. Since they moved him into that leadoff spot, they're 15-6 in the month of June. Fouled off a pretty good pitch right there from Dominic. There you go.
Gets him there. And there's one away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Blue Jays bats have come alive here today. They scored a combined 6 runs through the first 2 games of this series. They put up 5 in the 6th inning and 8 total Bonifacio. And there are 2 away.
Dominic's got a good fastball this afternoon. Well, gee, he last worked 5 days ago, so he's had some time off to recuperate. His fastball's been touching 95, and breaking ball's got a little bit of snap to it. Blue Jays have an off day tomorrow, so it'd be nice for John Gibbons to get in some of these relievers with a 6-run lead who needs some work.
Kane had a base hit back in the 6th inning. He's the hitter here. Golf tournament for you tomorrow.
Blue Jays alumni, so I got a chance to see some of the old guys, the old teammates.
Diving stop by Barney from his knees. Not in time. Kane is safe at first base. What a stop by Barney, and it's a 2-out infield single.
What a play by Barney. Number one, just getting to the ball. That ball's skidding on the grass. It's a little bit damp, a little bit wet, remember. He gets to it, finds it in his glove, and then somehow he's able to throw accurately over to first base. Any slower runner, and that would have been an out, but Kane can really fly. And you can see from that replay, he beat the throw. What a play by Barney.
So runner over at first base. Eric Hosmer is the batter. You'll be the MC tomorrow.
Yep, for the golf tournament. I have to find my list of some of the guys. I heard JP Arancibia is going to be there. Lloyd Mosby, Rance Mullinick, some of the guys all going to be there. I'm sure they're in town already. Should be a lot of fun for Jays Care.
Yep. As the pitch misses. Looked like it caught that inside corner, didn't it?
It was a slider, so you had to figure it got part of the plate.
Hosmer's the batter. He has a base hit. That was back in the 4th, and he picked up an RBI, his 32nd. Hosmer waits, and he fouls it off of his front foot. 2 outs here with Kane over at first base.
Late break on that slider. Something about this Royals team. They have that ability to turn it up a notch late in ball games. 7th inning later, they've got the best average and slugging percentage in the month of June. I mean, that's how well that they have been hitting from the 7th inning on.
We've hit these numbers, Tabby. I mean, they've won 11-13, and they've done it in a variety of ways. You go back to Boston series, and it was a grand slam in the 8th by Sal Perez.
And it's not just 1 or 2 guys for this team. It's been the whole team. They've had 8 different players driving a game-winning RBI this month. Ned Yost has to be happy with what he has seen from his group. There leads Major League, 6 wins, 7th inning on. Something about this team, tough to put away.
And the pitch misses, and Kane will head down to second base. Defensive indifference. The rain still falling softly here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Blue Jays return home after the game today, and it all gets underway on Tuesday against Baltimore. 13 games prior to the All-Star break, all against the AL East. Up until that Houston series, you have Baltimore, Boston, New York, and then Houston comes to town, and they've won 51 games, and they've won 28 of those on the road. Here's a full count pitch, and it's looped into shallow center field, and Hosmer has his 2nd RBI. He's hustling for second, and they got him. And did Kane score?
He's saying no.
No, Kane does not score.
Well,
he thought he was going to easily score.
Yeah, and Hosmer was trying for some reason to turn that into a double. The Royals have asked to wait. Blue Jays are going to have to stay on the field, wait to see the replay if he is out or safe at second base. If he's out, the run doesn't score, the inning's over. Pilar gets over, bare hands the ball. Hosmer takes off.
Watch this. He's
not in.
No, he is not. Wow.
And they're going to take a look at it.
And they are going to take a look, but Kane, I mean, nearly, he was just trotting home, and then he slowed down even more to nearly a walk.
Pilar, he playing it. That's where the communication comes in. Kevin is. That looked like the tag right there.
Yeah.
Kevin was concentrating on picking up the baseball, but the corner outfielders have got to tell him, hey, he's going to second base. So you come up throwing. Barney is in position to put the tag on him.
And this is what they're looking at.
Question is, does he get that lead hand
In.
the left hand right there? Does he get a tag? He swipes at it. Not sure if he got him right there. His foot is in the way.
And does that lead to his left thumb actually coming up off? You see how his left thumb and index finger had come off of the ground. Is that because of the sweeping tag? Joe West, the crew chief.
The swipe tag, that's where Laz Diaz calls him out.
And they're still reviewing it.
Well, there's a lot of implications. Out or safe, run or no run, inning over or it continues, 8-2 or 8-3. And all the Blue Jays can do is just stand out there.
Let's see here.
Does he make the tag initially there?
Right there. And is that the reason for the hand moving up, the left hand? Looks like it was already starting. It's hard to tell from that angle. Play obviously under review.
Well, if he doesn't swipe and doesn't tag him, his hand was already in there when he tagged him on the chest. So the question is, and that's why Laz Diaz is in there, they're asking him, did you call the tag on the left hand or did you call it on the chest? We'll see. They've got their decision. Out. No run. Inning over.
It's 8-2. We go to the ninth.
Presented by the all-new 2017 Honda Rebel. Live your life. Love your ride.
Back in Kansas City here, and we head to the 9th inning. Travis Wood, the left-hander.
7th pitcher of the afternoon for the Kansas City Royals. Travis Wood, the left-hander, now in his 8th major league season, was a member of the Chicago Cubs last year when they won the World Series. Wood was signed as a free agent middle of February this season. Now pitching in relief for Kansas City. Nothing really spectacular. Fastball, breaking ball is what you're going to get from Wood.
Pilar, then Pierce, and back to the top of the order into Bautista. And this part of the lineup for John Gibbons has really come through today. Pilar, 2 runs scored. And a pitch down and in. And if you include Goins with Pierce, that 9 spot has produced 2 runs as well. And then you go back to Bautista. He has scored twice. And Roberto Osuna, the right-hander, up at the bullpen. Ground ball through the left side and a base hit. A 3-hit game for Pilar.
Have a day, Kevin.
Yep.
3 hits and a walk. He scored a couple of runs, and he starts the 9th with the base hit.
And here comes Pierce. Pierce looks at a pitch down and in. Back-to-back multi-hit games for Kevin. It is his first 3-hit game as Pierce fouls us off since May the 13th against Seattle in a 7-2 win at home when he was 3 for 4 and 2 runs scored. After that day, he was hitting .315. But his average starting to climb once again. Fouled off by Pierce.
That's baseball. Yeah. You play so many games and you have so many at-bats. The good ones just bring it every day and they keep that even keel. You know, what you don't want to do is really high and then really low and then really high again. Just go out there and be consistent. Come to the park every day and do your things that hopefully help you make good contact and get yourself base hits. But that's baseball. One day you're hitting everything, the next day you have no clue.
Speaking of that, Pierce is now over at first base after being hit by the pitch. Runners at first and second. Bautista got it all going back in the 5th inning with a 2-run blast.
This is a 3-0 pitch from Jason Hamill. Blue Jays are down by 2 runs. And the Blue Jays haven't looked back. 8 straight runs they have scored. This was the beginning of it right here. Bautista at home run number 13. Jose has also had an RBI walk. He's also driven in another run with a single.
Jose, since being moved into the leadoff spot, is 8 for 19, 5 runs. Backhanded there by Escobar. They go the second out on the first double play. So he's now 8 for 20, 5 runs, 4 walks.
He covers that ball, hits that one hard. Won't have anything to show for it. That'll be a double play. Travis Wood, single, hit by a pitch, rocket. Haven't had much fun today as Bautista's all over this one. A 1-hopper to the shortstop. Nifty double play from Torres and Escobar.
Martin is 1 for 4 with a run scored. And a ground ball. Cuthbert scoops it up over to first base. And that'll do it in the top of the 9th inning. Bottom of the 9th we go in Kansas City. Perez, Cuthbert, and Escobar, and they will see the right-hander Roberto Osuna. A great scene here in Kansas City on this Sunday as Roberto makes his way out to pitch. And yesterday, and talking to the media assembled here in Kansas City, just said that he was feeling anxious, had more to do with things off of the field than on, was unable to go on Friday night. And so this is just great to see Roberto taking the baseball here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
This is great to see. He's one of the best in baseball. He's not available on Friday. In here Sunday. The Blue Jays again have an off day tomorrow, so it's nice to get Osuna some work here. He last worked on the 21st, 4 days ago, when he picked up that save in Texas. An inning. He's been on some kind of roll lately.
Ian Parmley, who was just called up, is out in left field, becoming the 3rd left fielder. Parmley started on Friday night, made his major league debut. This is his 2nd game. And a defensive replacement as the batter Perez jumps on that pitch. It's Perez, Cuthbert, and Escobar. And Roberto Osuna, the right-hander, the young right-hander on the hill for the Blue Jays here with a 8-2 lead in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Obviously not a save situation, but a chance for him to get some work. He's had 18 straight saves.
And Perez strikes out, and he's like, you know what, I'm not running down there. You got me. And Perez strikes out. And so Roberto with one away here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
He's got 2 types of breaking balls. He can cut the ball, and that's a hard slider that goes down a little bit more. So he'll pick up the strikeout with that pitch.
Right-hander comes set, and he shatters a bat. And Cuthbert will head back.
There's a cup right on the end of the bat to take a little weight out of the bat. A lot of times on breaking balls, right-handed batters will hit it right off that cup and chip the bat. Here's the cutter. The ball cutting away, and he's going to hit it right off the end of the bat. Just chip it. That'll make a nice fungo now.
Yes. Did you ever use a cup bat?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You still get the length in the bat, but you take some of the weight out.
Yep.
And batters want to have a little bit lighter weight so they can buggy whip that bat at the baseball.
Pitch is down, and a count of 1-1. Roberto looks in. Has a sign. They set up in tight to Cuthbert. And he grounds this one to foul and a count of 1-2 strikes. Royals entered today as Cuthbert goes down swinging. 1 game above 500 for the first time this season. They're 1 out away from falling back to 500, and the Blue Jays are 4 games under 500 now.
Another breaking ball. You got to respect this fastball. Yeah. He can dial it up there. High 90s if he wants to, mid 90s. You got to respect it. And then you get that breaking ball. He's 2 for 2, 2 strikeouts.
Just great to see Roberto out there on the hill, and you hope that all is well.
Physically, he says, I'm fine. Just dealing with some issues right now. And you're right. These are the kind of players, if you get to know players like Roberto, he's a fine young man. These are the kind of guys that you really pull for and you cheer for. So we hope everything's okay.
Pitch is in there. A strike, 1 strike, 2 away. Blue Jays 2 strikes away, 1 out away from avoiding the sweep. And fanning at it, Escobar. Escobar, after 3 hits yesterday, is 0 for the day. And 1 strike away for Roberto Osuna from striking out the side. Osuna comes set. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball, backhanded, Tulowitzki, off balance throw, and it pulls Smoke off of the bag, and Smoke is going to scoop it up in foul territory. A tough play for Tulo.
Infield hit for Escobar. He's come up with hits all different ways. Looped a couple of balls into the outfield. Now he's going to get an infield hit on a ball. He's way out in front on Tulowitzki. That patented jump throw. This time he can't get it over there accurately. Smoke's got to go around that hitter, so that'll be an infield hit. Blue Jays have out hit the Royals this afternoon 11-9. Blue Jays have also left 12 runners on base.
And defensive indifference as Escobar heads to second base. And now Martin will jog out to the mound with the runner at second base. And Pilar in conversation with Parmley. And Parmley now heads back over toward his position in left. Osuna looks out that way and now back on the hill, with Escobar grabbing a lead at second. And Torres takes a pitch down and in a count of 2-0. 8-2 here. Blue Jays with a lead. Looking to end this 7-game road trip with a 3-4 mark. As Osuna brings it, and it just misses in off of the plate, and a count of now 3-0. And there is a strike. Blue Jays 8 runs on 11 hits. And strike 2. Taking all the way.
Yeah, taking all the way. Backdoor cutter that time. Catches the outside corner.
They set up outside. Here's a 3-2 with 2 outs. Got him! And Roberto Osuna pointing in the air strikes out the side with a base hit squeezed in there. And what a great job by Osuna as he comes in, and you see Martin wrapping his arm around Roberto Osuna, and then some other teammates coming around as well.
Such a great side to see him finishing off the ball.